All right, we have some breaking news. We officially have a video of somebody scrolling through the Epstein files, and it was entirely disappointing. I mean, a lot of conservative influencers are disappointed. I'm sure your conservative coworker or your QAnon uncle or whoever in your life was excited for this is going to be disappointed because it was all a scam. It was all a ruse, and Trump tried to use conservative influencers to hide something. The question is, what are they trying to hide in the Epstein files because Trump is refusing to release them? Remember, Epstein originally died under the first Trump presidency, and I'm not saying that Trump's connected, but I'm just asking questions here. But we do have an article that's titled, Trump DOJ Feeds Jeffrey Epstein Documents to Underwhelmed Conservative Influencers. Quote, you should feel frustrated, says the conservative influencers, because it was incredibly counterproductive. It was just, it was really lame. The Justice Department released a handful of files on notorious sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein to a hand-selected crop of right-wing social media influencers. I mean, the entire thing was so bizarre. It was like a fever dream. It was like an episode of Twin Peaks or a David Lynch movie because libs of TikTok. You guys have heard of libs of TikTok, right? The woman on Twitter who is always posting videos of kindergarten teachers, and she's even caused bomb threats to get called into schools because she'll post a video of some gay teacher and be like, this teacher is spreading transgenderism, and then there'll be a bomb threat called into school. She's just a terrible, terrible human being, but she does have a big platform on Twitter, and that's why Donald Trump chose her, chose a few other like conservative influencers from Twitter, basically cat turd level people. This says, Chaya Reichik from Libs of TikTok is grinning ear to ear, gleefully flaunting her useless Epstein binder, packed with information that's mostly already public, while 250 real victims are still fighting for actual answers. And here's the thing. This is what conspiracy theorists want, and this is a trap that you guys should be careful of falling into. When it comes to conspiracy theorists, they just want to feel like they're in on something special. They want to feel like they know something unique and life isn't as boring. I had a bunch of friends in high school like this, people that would smoke a lot of weed, which is fine, that part's fine, but then they would always have these vast conspiracy theories where they are the savior. They are Neo in the Matrix and they know something special. And it turns into this game for them. And I'm like, hey, you're talking about real things. You're talking about real medical conditions, real lives here. Not everything. Not every school shooting is some conspiracy theory. And that's how I feel about Chaya and Libs of TikTok and a lot of the Epstein file people. Did Epstein do terrible things? Yes. Do we want the files? Yes. But all of the conspiracy theory people about Bill Gates and George Soros, they want to feel special. They want to feel like they're in on something special, and that's the trap of conspiracy theories. Everyone wants to be Neo in the Matrix, but life isn't the Matrix. It's actually pretty boring, to be honest. The level of tone deafness here is off the charts, says Krasenstein. Imagine treating a case of child sex trafficking like a cheap prop for social media clout, while the people who actually suffered are left in the dark. It's performative. It's grotesque. It's exactly the kind of distraction they want. That is what I'm saying. It's a distraction. Trump is trying to distract people because, again, when we go through this video of the Epstein files, there's really nothing new in them. And we're going to go through the video, but first, make sure you're subscribed. Scroll down and look how close we are to 1 million subscribers. We're this close. We're at about 986K, so make sure you're subscribed. Somebody said, why are the Epstein files and binders given to clout-chasing social media influencers? They are using this horrific crime for clicks. Release the files in full now without editorializing. And these are some of the influencers. One is named DC Drano, literally just a conservative shitposter, but I guess being a conservative shitposter is enough to get you into the deputy FBI director, like Dan Bongino, to get you into, I don't know, the DOJ, anywhere. But here we have Libs of TikTok, some creator who's just a terrible person. And then we have DC Drano. All these conservative creators have access to this information that is already online. And let me just reiterate, conspiracy theorists, people like this, they just want to feel special. Libs of TikTok doesn't actually care about the victims. And there were victims. It's easy to kind of forget that there were many victims within the Epstein crimes. I mean, of course there were, but after the suicide and everything that followed after, it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget that people were actually affected. And the disgusting thing is, During all of the Epstein file distractions, you know what they could have been distracting from other than the massive tax cuts they're about to pass, other than prices skyrocketing, other than the wars resparking. They could have been distracting from the fact that Trump helped lobby for the Andrew Tate brothers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, to come back home from Romania after being credibly accused of rape and sex trafficking. This says, it is disgusting that our president lobbied for special favors for these vile human traffickers. If you support this, you have no principles and no grounds to demand the, quote, Epstein list or talk about protecting women or anything else. You know, I want to start going a lot harder on conservatives and MAGA Republicans as I debate them over the next few years, over the next decade, but mainly over the next year or so, or the next under the Trump term, because these people are so performative, but they don't actually care. I will credibly say right now, Trump supporters don't actually care about women being abused, about children being abused. They use it as a cudgel to attack liberals and to attack immigrants and other groups that they hate. Think about it. Matt Gaetz was protected by the entire Republican Party. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson had to take intentional steps to protect Matt Johnson after he had been exposed for this sex trafficking ring. Even Donald Trump took intentional steps by appointing him as the Attorney General. But they also run defense for the Tate brothers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, after all of this, and then they claim to want the Epstein files because they think maybe Bill Clinton is on them, when it's like, hey, Trump is likely on them as well. We also had the House Judiciary Committee putting out troll tweets about this. They said, hey, the Epstein files were released, and then you click on it, and it takes you to the Rick roll. It takes you to the Rick roll. I mean, is it funny? I don't really find it that funny. The Rick roll used to be hilarious, but when Republicans are now running defense for sex traffickers like Matt Gaetz, and they're being performative about Epstein's list, it's just, I'm sick of it. But here we go. DC Drano, the conservative influencer who got the list, went live and scrolled through it. This says, LMAO, that moron DC Drano guy went live with the bombshell Epstein files they gave them in those fancy binders. And if we just scroll through it, look at this. Page 1, page 2, page 3. I'd say about 98% of it is redacted. Redacted names. And then as we learned more and more, Ken Klippenstein said, you know, the president has the authority to unilaterally declassify documents. If the Epstein files are heavily redacted, either Trump wants it that way or the FBI is being insubordinate. And we know that the FBI is full of Trump loyalists, so the only logical conclusion is that the Trump administration wants the Epstein files redacted. Even this Trump supporter was complaining. This Trump supporter whose bio says pursuing truth, liberty, Jesus Christ, and personal sovereignty said, the Phase 1 Epstein file or Epstein binders are filled with heavily redacted versions of information that's been public for 5 years. This entire PR stunt is one of the craziest scams I've ever seen. What a disaster. Again, the entire PR stunt is a crazy scam. Coming from a Trump supporter here, it's all redacted. Most of these names, all of these names were publicly available already. You don't hear anybody new. I mean, oh wow, Ghislaine Maxwell's name is on the Epstein list. That's quite crazy. Ed Krasenstein then says, no, the FBI didn't release any Epstein files publicly. Everything listed below was already available under the Biden admin. What is the Trump administration hiding? Dump it all publicly. What's taking so long? Why are they so scared? And, I'll leave it at that. What is Trump trying to hide? What are the people around Trump trying to hide? Really quickly, if we reverse the roles, and if Biden failed to release the Epstein files after promising to do so, and then release some half-assed redacted version, people would be like, not only is Biden on the list, I bet you all of Biden's allies are on the list. I bet Kamala's on the list as well. So if we want to be like them, which we don't want to be like them, but if we want to play ball and get down and dirty, we could just say, hey, I bet JD Vance and Kash Patel are on the list as well. I don't know. I digress. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe so we can get to 1 million. I could not do this without you. We are holding Republicans accountable every single day. One of the largest Gen Z pro-democracy channels because of you guys. So drop a like. Drop some blue hearts. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.